Welcome to the Adapt Podcast, a podcast for executive leaders looking to be successful in the digital age. Get practical tips from successful leaders and listen as digital movers and shakers talk about how they transformed companies into the digital era. Here is your host, Luis Gonzalez.
Welcome to another episode of the Adapt Podcast. Today with us, we have Ronaldo Miranda, the CEO, President, Turnaround Specialist, Advisor, Mentor, and Board Member. And he's the CEO of the Stack Tech. So, Ronaldo, thank you so much for being in the show. It's a pleasure to have you here, and welcome. And once again, thank you so much. And please tell us a little bit about yourself. I made a very short introduction about you, but I really would love if you could tell us a little bit about yourself to our audience. Thank you so much once again, Ronaldo.
All right, thank you. It is my pleasure to participate in. Thank you very much for the invitation. Well, I've been in this role for quite a while. I have more than 30 years in the technology business. I started very early in my career, not in the technology, and I came through different positions throughout my whole career. I was lucky to be in the right places with the right companies, and I learned a lot. And for sure, it was a big and great journey for me. So back in 2017, I decided to start my own company. Prior to that, I was leading several different companies from multinationals like Intel, Samsung, AMD, Arrow, and then I started my own company called Stack Tech, focus on technology, particularly on cybersecurity and information security and management. So nowadays we are leading some projects on private data, and as a board of advisors for some customers, and that's the whole thing that we do today. So
that's cool.
That's cool. Me.
That's cool. Thank you so much. I'm really interested on the cybersecurity part because it's such a hot topic nowadays.
Yes,
and I believe that not many people still understand its importance, right? It's very, very important, but I think most companies do not understand it. And more and more in today's world, we need to be really aware. So today we will talk a little bit about it, and it's one of the reasons why I love to have you here. Yeah. So Ronaldo, tell me something. We always start with a very simple question, because I always like to hear what people have to say about it. So I would like to start this show by asking you, what is digital transformation, digital era for you? What does it mean, digital transformation, for you? Because everyone has a different opinion, and it's always interesting to hear what our guests have to say. So go for it. What is your definition?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. I've been debating with several different people about that. So most of the people, they think that digital transformation is converting your company only technological things, or gears, or equipment, or drivers, which is a big portion of a digital transformation, of course. But there are a lot of process in your company that you can and you should take care prior to go and introduce technology to your company. Let me give you an example. I have several companies introducing CRM to the organizations without any process prior to that. In other words, they're going to waste a lot of time and money buying CRM tools or softwares that will not work. So digital transformation is much more than technology only. You need to think different. You need to think innovation. You need to prepare your organization, changing your process using Agile, Scrum, or other techniques to prepare and transform your company. So digital transformation is a lot more than technology.
Yes, it's an enabler, right? Technology is an enabler. what really matters is the business model, the way how you think about your entire company. And I think that's why it's so difficult, right? Because a lot of people they are used to manage processes.
Back to your point on cybersecurity, I've seen a lot of people introducing new softwares or gears for security in their network, but they don't have a PSI. They don't have a security information policy. In other words, it doesn't make any difference when you introduce equipment when people are not aware or not trained to take care of information security. That's a good example. CRM is another one. So digital transformation is definitely changing the world, but for companies that are really working in 360 degree to make it happen.
Yeah. Okay. It's such a wide topic. That's why I always love to.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like it.
That's why I always love to get my guest's definition. Tell me a little bit. So, digital age, digital transformation can open a huge amount of doors for traditional companies. So, from your point of view, what are the big advantage that the traditional business can take advantage of this new digital era, this digital transformation? So, from your point of view, what do you think that are the big benefits that they can take away from it?
Yeah, the most important one that everybody's looking and sometimes using the word incorrectly is innovation. When you open the door to digital transformation, you change the way your company we approach the market, and you prepare your organization to play against your competitors that eventually are already doing that, right? For example, if you are a retailer and you are ignoring the e-commerce, consequently, you're going to lose a big portion of your market. If you are a consultant that uses only Excel files and PowerPoint without using technology on your favor, you're going to lose some market to your competitors. So every single company has the opportunity to grow and look for alternative markets using digital transformation. But most of them will lose the market if they don't adopt it. So digital transformation is not an option anymore. If you don't embrace it, you're gonna be dead in a couple of years. I think digital transformation is not a buzzword. It's a nice to say, it's a nice to read. I think it's very important to everybody to understand how your company can use digital transformation to play and to win. Otherwise, you're gonna lose.
Yeah, that you answered already the second question, which is the the biggest threats or challenges for big traditional companies if they don't go into this direction. And you already answered, and I fully agree with you. It's they will not be here anytime soon, right? So
Yep.
I think 50, 60 years ago, the average lifetime of a company was around 70 to 80 years. Now the average life cycle of a company, the average lifetime of a company is below 10. So
That's it. Yeah,
it's
exactly.
it's as you said, it's not a choice anymore. It's really a mandatory thing. But let me pick up on that one. So, from your point of view, you saw a lot of companies, you saw a lot of different leaders, you work with a lot of leaders. From your point of view, what are the things that you see the most happening that prevent leaders to actually change their way of working, or change their mindset, or change even the way how the company is operating? Because, as we said, it's not about technology, it's much more about business modeling and changing the entire way of working. So from your experience, what do you think are the biggest barriers for leaders to adopt this mindset or rethink the way how they operate in their entire company?
Yeah. Well, first, if you think the big companies, usually what prevent them to move is their success. I mean, they are comfortable in the position they are, in the revenue they have, and usually they delay decisions because everything looks okay, but it's not. So it comes from the leadership, usually. The leadership doesn't want to change when they think they are winning. In fact, they are, but they don't see the long run. So they are looking on short terms. And that's the big pressure. When you're running or leading a big company, you are pressured to deliver results every single month, sometimes every single week. And then you lose the big picture. That's the big prevention. And the small and medium ones usually is a lack of resource, or most of the time is a lack of expertise and experience from the leadership again. So I usually when I approach companies, even when I was hired as an executive, or now with my company debating or dealing with the CEOs, CFOs, CIOs, uh, usually you see clearly that the leadership is reluctant to change what they are doing nowadays. So the big barriers are the desire or the expertise to change.
Okay, the expertise, that's an interesting one. So you believe that leaders don't have the expertise, or do you believe that leaders don't get surrounded by people with the expertise? What is your opinion?
Well, first of all, it will be unfair to define it that every single leader must be a Superman, right? With
Yeah.
all the ingredients that they need to be a star leader.
Yeah.
And when I say that they don't have the expertise, most of them they came from the old school like me. But I was fortunately to work on the technology segment, so I was forced to learn and live and breathe technology innovation and digital transformation. So I was glad and lucky for that. But most of the ordinary leaders, good leaders including, they don't have that exposure. So they don't have the expertise. They don't have a clue how to move to new technologies, how to do innovation, even in process. For
Yeah,
example,
because it's very interesting what you said, because they came from let's say they are more focused on management, which is very
exactly.
interesting. Yeah,
Exactly.
because that's a very interesting point, because basically they are focused, or they spend most of their entire career by focusing on management, and management
Yep.
principles have been there for several decades, so they're not they don't change that often. But people like us from technology, that we need to adapt every second year,
Exactly.
every second year, every third year, we are forced to adapt, to learn new technologies, and we are forced to really look what the market is asking for from the technology point of view, give us a completely different flexibility. That's a very
Yep.
interesting point. Never thought about it.
Do you want a guide to ensure you will not become irrelevant in the digital era? Download the Amazon bestseller book, Adapt. adaptmethodology.com/book.
And basically, because you have, of course, every single company needs to take care of their financial revenue and profit. That's regular and basics, right? But most of them, they are so focused on that part of the business that they lose or are afraid to invest to move towards new directions or new possibilities. And if you are a big company, eventually you're going to hire people that can help you to bring that expertise to your company. But if you are a middle or small company, usually you don't have, you cannot afford to have that, right? And then usually the medium and small business owners, they are the founder of the company, and they have their own mentality and of what is the success for their company. And you're going to be amazed, but a lot of them, they don't want competition. They don't bring good guys or good experts to their organization, because they don't want to have a shadow compete with him, which is very common. At least here in Brazil, I see a lot of when we approach companies, most of them they are not hiring or even bring experts to help them, because they don't want to have a competition. And then I think it's the main area of the evolution of that.
In Portugal, it's very common as well to have that issue, but I think it's a bit of what you said, but it's as well that usually the founders of those companies, they are on the 60s, 50s, 60s, so they have quite a lot of success during the last decade, so they believe that they were very successful. They don't need any expertise. But what's happening is very interesting. The new generation, their sons and daughters, are now taking over the companies, and now we have a new generation that they understand that we cannot run it in the same way, and they want to change it. But it's very true. I identify the same problems here, that they are afraid. They are the bosses. I call them bosses, not leaders. Yeah. They run the business. They built, and they were very successful. And we should give all the honors to them, because they have the merit. Mm-hmm. But they are struggling quite a lot in this new era. Cool. So, trying to push you a little bit, or invite you to go more into the cybersecurity, because this is the topic that I'm very interested today. I would like to start asking you, what is the big difference that you are watching on the market and in the society, specifically on cybersecurity? Because nowadays everything is about software, everything is digital. So we have IoT, we have apps, we have so many things that can go wrong if security is not there. I read a couple of news. There was a huge cyber attack in Brazil a couple of months ago, right? So that's becoming very, very important hot topic, but still, I believe not many companies still think that is a big threat, right? So I would love to deep dive a little bit on this topic, and starting to ask you what is happening now in today's society from 10 years ago to today's role in this specific topic, cybersecurity. So what is your view on this?
Yeah, the first thing that you need to take in consideration is that today the big money is data, and everything is related to data.
It's more expensive than oil.
Exactly. And then, because of that, a lot of bad guys develop a lot of techniques to attack companies to steal that data. The only reason for any hacker to attack your company, inside or outside, because 70%, 2/3 of the attacks are from inside to the company, is from employees or service providers that are inside your company. Well, back to the point.
That I did not know that. That's very interesting.
Yeah, 2/3 of the attacks come from inside or fail of the human being, and usually is to grab or to store your data, because data is like gold nowadays, right? And then that's the main reason that the big attacks are happening. And when we have new policies and arriving countries like Europe, or now in Brazil, like GDPR in Europe or LGPD in Brazil, that is a new law that with the intention to protect the citizen against in favor of their privacy data. The hackers found another way to blackmail the companies, because they know that if they stole or block your data, your database, and that information goes to the deep web, and is available for other hackers or other bad people to use that against the citizen, or the company will be penalized in big penalties. So in the past, they used to block your database only because they will blackmail you to require some bitcoins, because you wouldn't be able to use your data. Now with the new techniques and technology for backup, if I'm a hacker and I block your database and you have a good backup, very in line with what is the real data, I'll say, oh, Mr. Hacker, I have a backup. Thank you very much. I won't pay you. But nowadays, even if you have a good backup, the hackers will threaten you, saying that they'll go and sell or put that data available in the deep web. And then you'll be charged in big penalties by the authority in each country that is managing the GDPR in case of Europe.
So what you're saying, let me see if I understand and to pass it. So it's very interesting. So before they were hacking and they were charging money because most of companies did not have a proper backup, right?
Yep.
So, but nowadays the game is changed. The game today is not get money in exchange of granting or making sure that the data is up to speed. Is more about really selling the data. So they don't care anymore if the company has a backup or not, because what they want is not putting the company down, is really just stealing the data to sell it on the black market.
Yep. Yeah.
Right?
3 weeks ago, a big laboratory in Brazil was hacked. And I know the company because I used to provide some solutions, cybersecurity solutions for them. And they were hacked, and I know that they have a backup, but they paid the hacker because the hacker threatened them to put all the data into the deep web. And guess what? Brazil has a 50 million reais penalty if this big data goes into the market. And then they paid around $5 million to the hacker, because on top of this 50 million penalty that they could have, every single citizen can sue them. And then the several million, thousands of individuals suits could make that drive the company to bankruptcy. So that's the big change of how the change of 10 years ago compared to nowadays. And the technology now allows the hackers to do things that is unimaginable by 2 years ago. They are attacking companies that has a very good system or cybersecurity system, but they can break that silo, that protection, using new technologies. And most of the company, they don't follow the technology because it's very expensive. This company that I'm talking is public. I can say that is a Laboratório Fleury in Brazil. They invest a lot of money in infrastructure, in cybersecurity, but they are not up to date to the new threatening or the new technology used by the hackers. In other words, unfortunately, most of the companies, even the big ones, they are not prepared for every single attack. And they must keep up with the new technologies changing. In other words, they need to invest even more if they want to protect their data.
So let me tell you, or let me ask you something. If most of our listeners are leaders and guys that are running companies, what is your advice if they would like to start taking cybersecurity into consideration in their own companies? what could be your top 3 advices that you would have for them? For where should they start? In order to
as I said, two-thirds of the threatening or the risks are inside. I mean, in other words, even if you are not a malicious employee, you can be used by the hackers to attack your company. For example, phishing into your email, connecting from outside without a VPN. So there are several risks that a company is now in danger, and they don't have a clue that they are. So first of all, I think they gotta have a very strong policy on security, PSI or Security Information Policy, SAP. That's the initial thing. So they gotta have a very well educated organization. In other words, be trained on cybersecurity or information security to prevent that. So training is very crucial for the organization. If the employee doesn't know that clicking that link will damage the company, they will click because they don't have a clue. And then there are several easy changes that you can make in your organization, from Wi-Fi connection, guest Wi-Fi connection, even changing the way you do your own network distribution, protecting your firewalls and boards, how you're going to use the web. So there are several different ways to do that. But the first thing that you have is to educate your own organization with the procedures and policies and train them. If you have that, you're going to mitigate a lot of potential risks, because everybody's think that a hacker will be from some place in Afghanistan with a PC, looking your IP address, trying to enter your company. It's not always like that. It's usually there is some attacks that are called DDoS. They use this fictional image to attack your company, but usually is a very easy play. They put an email, pretending that you're banking or you're retailer, and you click in that link. You don't see anything happening, but that link, inject a threat into your network. If your network has no control of access, that agent, that virus, or that malware will go through your network, finding administrator that can allow them to go to the administration of servers, storage, and from there they make a big hit. So or eventually you have your cell phone and you are connecting to your own company inside your Wi-Fi or your network inside of your organization. And you have a malware in your cell phone, your notebook, or your mobile, and then will pass through your network. And then that's the way, the hackers attack the company. That's what I'm saying. Usually 2/3 comes from inside, not a hacker in Afghanistan trying to reach your IP address. And that's the way. So education, a strong policy for cybersecurity, information security, privacy protection, will mitigate 70-75% of the risks. And then use the regular tools, which are nowadays very sophisticated, that can help you to control access, which is the main big door and back door for the hackers, and protect your data. I mean, there are several techniques and softwares or hardwares or solution that can help you to do that.
Cool. And where do you see the mindset changing? So do you see companies will really start taking into consideration this? And the obvious answer would be yes, of course, but sometimes we humans are not that smart as we think we should.
Yeah, well, it depends on the country. Of course, Brazil is not a good example of a country that the companies are really concerned or invest in cybersecurity is still a greenfield market for companies like mine with cybersecurity solutions. If you go to countries like USA or even some countries in Europe, they are more aligned with the concerns and the investments that they should have. But usually, the CEO or CFO forget about a little bit the IT guys or the security guys. The CEO and the CFO they'll see that not as an investment; they'll see that as a cost.
Cost.
And that's a big issue. Usually, the good gears and a well developed plan for cybersecurity protection is quite a bit expensive. Is not very low investment, and they put in the paper. I mean, I'll put $1 million in cybersecurity. I'll put $1 million in my sales, e-commerce, and is an easy decision from the business standpoint if you only think in results.
Yeah.
But guess what? They are neglecting their own security that can damage big time their. For example, this laboratory that I mentioned. They had a big hit in the image, and I'm sure that they'll lose a lot of customers that will not trust that they can protect their own privacy data. And then that's a big hit in the company. So you're not going to see next quarter revenue, but long term, if I am a competitor, I'll use that against them.
Yeah, but the problem I see is as you said, you will not see on this quarter, you'll see in long term. Unfortunately, a lot of our executives out there, as you said, they are measured quarterly by quarterly. So they would prefer most probably investing something like you said in sales or whatever than in the cybersecurity, because if something happened, it will be in 1 year, 2 years, 3 years time, and most probably they will not be there anymore.
Yeah, and that's back to my point on when we were talking about the pressure on the leadership. I mean, they are not measured by cybersecurity; they are measured by revenue and profit. And taking 1 million of my net profit and putting cybersecurity will damage my quarter and my bonus, and that's it. So. It's a very hard sell for companies to sell cybersecurity. But guess what? I think it's changing very dramatically and will change in the coming years. I mean, all the companies will pay more attention to that. Otherwise, they will be out of the market in terms of long term. That's my perception.
Cool. Ronaldo, now the last two questions of the show. So you saw a lot and you worked a lot in several companies. I would like to ask the first question is, what was the biggest lesson that you learned as a leader in your entire career?
Well, the big lesson was you need to learn how to take decisions fast and as much accurate as possible. In other words, don't be afraid to take decisions. A big leader takes decisions every day, every single minute. Learn, teach yourself, learn from others how to make decisions fast and as much as you can accurate to the right
decision
place.
Is better than a non-decision.
Exactly. So I work in several great companies, but the one that I loved a lot was Samsung. Samsung is a Korean company, and I was amazed. The way they take decisions is sometimes to the wrong side, but they take decisions. They are not afraid. They win money, they lose money, but they take decisions. So, myself, I was always like that. So I take decisions every single day. Everybody takes decisions, right? But a lot of people, and unfortunately, a lot of leaders, they are afraid to take decisions. So we just mentioned that these guys in between 50 and 60, the old tailor management, they will not change the game. not because they are not capable. Eventually they are, because they are afraid. They don't take decisions. So what if I take this decision and something went wrong? Guess what? That's life. So my big lesson being executive in my whole life was not be afraid of take decision, and I'll not make the right decision 100% of the time. That's okay. And then you learn from there. Is a cycle, right? So that's the big advice that I give to my kids, to my colleagues, to my friends. So learn how to take decisions and take it.
Cool. Awesome. And the last one is an advice that you have for leaders that are starting or want to start their career in the leadership position. What is the advice that you have for these young leaders that are starting or started their career?
Yeah, I think the first one, that's an easy one, and perhaps is the most thought in this situation is you need to learn how to manage people. That's when I say manage people, it's not only manage your own team, your employees. Manage people, managing your ecosystem. I mean, that's the first advice. So you need to read, to understand, to take the position of your interlocutor to understand what the environment will take. That's the first one. And the second one, you need to be humble, but at the same time, you need to learn from others. I mean, and learn from others is not only in the school that you have a teacher or a mentor. Learning from others is understand what the people that you interface, that you have your relationship are doing, and learn from them. And of course, being up of the everything that's changed, you need to also be connected to the world. So I hate people that is not aware what is going on, even if it's a TV information that it doesn't touch your business. Sometimes that information is connected to a people that you're going to interface next day, and if you don't have a clue what the guy is saying, you are out of the approach. So learn is you learn every day to the rest of your life. Use that towards your progress, towards your growth. So learn, read, talk to people, learn from others, learn from the others' mistake. That's a big deal. If you can learn from others' mistakes, you abbreviate, you shortcut your success. That's a good one, right?
It's
and
true.
That's it. I think that's my two advice. So dealing with people and be an open student from every single task of your life. The rest is the rest. I mean, technology or finance, etc., will be part of your learning. So I think this two advices would be very key for your success.
Okay. So thank you so much, Ronald. It was a pleasure to have you here in the show. I think our audience will love it. It was really good conversation, interesting topics. The cybersecurity is always a good one. It was the first time that we had this topic in the show. So thank you so much. And Ronaldo, I will leave your LinkedIn profile on the show notes. So if people want to know a little bit more about yourself, so that they can contact you, and if they need some help with their own cybersecurity, feel free to contact Ronaldo. And man, thank you so much. It was really, really a pleasure to have you here in the show, and I wish you all the best for you and for your career and for your company. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you very much for the opportunity, and I hope the audience can take a bit of my experience. And anytime that you need, I'll be here. And I hope you come to Brazil so we can have a cafe in Brazil. All right. Thank you very much, and appreciate the opportunity, the time for you as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Ronaldo. Thank you so
Bye-bye.
much. Thank you so much. Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Adapt podcast. Head on over to www.adaptmethodology.com/scorecard to benchmark your ability as a leader to adapt your entire organization to the digital era. You will be able to identify plenty of opportunities for leveraged growth.